Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iOS 18.6 Beta 3. iOS 18.6 Beta 3 is available to developers, and iOS 18.6 Public Beta 3 should be out by the time you're watching this video or sometime tomorrow. Now, this was released alongside many other updates such as iPadOS 18.6 Beta 3, macOS 15.6 Beta 3, tvOS 18.6 Beta 3, HomePodOS 18.6 Beta 3, visionOS 2.6 Beta 3, and watchOS 11.6 Beta 3. Now, if you're on iOS 26 Beta 3, you won't see this update as you're on a newer version. So you'll have to wait for those updates, and many of us were waiting for iOS 26 Public Beta 1 today and maybe a Beta 3 re-release. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Now, iOS 18.6 supports all iOS 18 supported devices, so no changes there, and this update came in at 872.4 megabytes on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the build number and talk about what's new. So we'll go to Settings, then we'll go to General, then About. As you can see, the build number is 22G5073B. And this particular update, like all iOS 18 updates going forward, will be more of a refinement update as Apple is working on iOS 26. However, we do have a new modem update in Beta 3, so Beta 2 on the 16 Pro Max was 1.70.01. On Beta 3, it's 1.70.02. This hopefully will help with overall connectivity, as for some people it's been a bit spotty, but Beta 2 is pretty improved overall. As far as other new features, well, the first thing is I got the welcome screen again, at least on the iPad. You can see it here. Let me go ahead and swipe up to open and unlock, and then it says software updates complete. You'll see here we've got some things about Siri, and then we can get started. So that's something that's been updated. I'm not sure why this pops up randomly on different updates, but that's what's here on this one. Now, as far as other new features, well, this update is allowing for things in the European Union. 9to5Mac posted this a little while ago, and basically it allows things such as third-party app stores and things like that will be easier to install. So install third-party app marketplaces from the web or install third-party apps from the web store. And you can see some of the updates here where before it might nag you saying that you shouldn't install this, it's dangerous, but you can try it if you'd like. It's sort of changing some of that policy to make it a little bit different. So in general, it should be a little bit easier, a little bit less intrusive, and you should be able to do whatever you'd want here. Also, the code in Beta 1 and Beta 2 hints at new AirTags, maybe updated AirTags 2 with better finding capability, maybe longer battery life, and maybe just better overall. So that's something, and also Apple Intelligence in China. I've mentioned these things before, but it looks like that's something Apple's working on and has to work with other companies there to utilize their servers to implement the Apple Intelligence features. We have them in the United States, of course, but in other countries, not everyone has them yet. So Apple's still rolling this out, and again, this could be part of that update. Now, I was able to confirm with someone that installed iOS 18.6 Beta 3 in China that they're not seeing Apple Intelligence just yet, so maybe we'll get it by Beta 4 or by the time it's released to the public. As far as other features, well, Apple is testing a new update to Apple Car Keys. This would be version 4.0. It was announced today in Business Wire, and you can see it here where they're partnering with other companies such as BMW and others that already utilize it. So this should help with overall updates, maybe make it better, work a little bit more seamless. I actually have it on my iPhone running iOS 26 if you'd like to see what it looks like. So if we go into Wallet, you can see the Apple Car Key here where you can just unlock and lock from here. You can do all of this within the app, but this becomes the key and doesn't use as much power as maybe using a Tesla app if you're familiar with that. You can just walk up to the car and it will unlock. You can control the climate, alarm, or trunk. So maybe we'll get some more functionality or maybe more efficiency. As far as bugs and bug fixes, well, so far this is super smooth. I haven't noticed any touch issues, even using a screen protector. You can see I have a screen protector on this phone, so it seems to be responding as you would expect, and in general, pretty good so far. Incredibly smooth just using it over the past half hour or so. Micro stutters so far are gone. Now we're not sure if they're gone in third-party apps, but you can see in Apple Music, everything is super smooth, just going back and forth, maybe using ProMotion here when you're scrolling for over a period of time. Things do seem to be very smooth, and they definitely should be at this point as far as refinement goes. We're late in the game with iOS 18.6, so we shouldn't have any stutters or anything like that. As far as the wallpaper dimming bug, scroll up here, you'll see it still desaturates. However, I'm not seeing that as much on iOS 26. So with iOS 26, if we do the same thing here, we'll just bring down the notifications, swipe up, you'll see it desaturates on the iOS 18.6 update more. So maybe they've just fixed it here and they're not really doing a whole lot with it here. It's not a huge deal, but it is something that still remains. I haven't seen any freezes and crashes. Of course, we can expect some security updates, but Apple never updates those on their website until it's actually released to the public. So right now we have iPadOS 17.7.8, App Store Connect was the last one, and so we're waiting for the update, of course, to know what's in it as far as that goes. As far as anything else, well, let's take a look at the release notes, and this part is quite frustrating. The public-facing release notes basically say just one thing, that there's a known issue with HealthKit. Prior to this, they said there were no updates, so at least they're putting something in here, but you'll see health data becomes inaccessible when you reach the slide to power off page on an iPhone or iPad without a passcode. Workaround, add a passcode or reboot the device. So if you're having that issue with this, at least they're providing some documentation and some updates. But other than that, there's no additional information. This is better than it was a week ago, since there was no update then. Now they at least have some information here. Now, of course, we're all waiting for the release of iOS 26 public beta. Many people are waiting to try that out, and you'll see based on what we had in the past, it should have been out already. It could release after this video, it could release tomorrow or Wednesday, but I would definitely expect it this week at some point. So hopefully it's out by the time you're watching this video, but that's what we're waiting for, along with an iOS 26 Beta 3 re-release like they've done year over year. Now, of course, next week, since we're past Beta 3, we could see iOS 18.6 Beta 4 on Monday the 21st. That's typically what we see, and since we're currently at a B build at the end of the build number, we could see an A build and maybe a public release either by the end of the month on the 28th or maybe August 4th. Either way, I would expect iOS 18.6 fairly soon, and iOS 18.5.1 seems to be something they're just skipping altogether. So far, there's no hints of it or anything else, so it looks like we're waiting for iOS 18.6. Of course, we'll have iOS 26 betas throughout August and the end of July, and then the first or second week of September, they typically stop, and then we get a release sometime in mid-September. So that's typically what we get every year, so only about a month and a half left until iOS 26 should release to the public. As far as performance, I've talked about that a little bit already. So far, it's pretty good. And when it comes to battery life, let me share some from a viewer that sent it in with Beta 2. So thanks to Connor for sending this in. This was last week or so. You'll see last Wednesday, 9 hours and 28 minutes of screen active time, 1 hour and 9 minutes of screen idle time on an iPhone 16 Pro Max with 100% battery health. So overall, pretty good. You'll see he was down to 19%. He did really well that day. And generally, I'm seeing people get 9 to 11 hours of screen on time with iOS 18.6 beta, so it seems to be quite good. As far as the overall heat, well, so far the phone has been nice and cool the entire time, recording this video prior to this, and when it comes to overall benchmarks, I ran those as well. Let's go ahead and take a look, and I had to run them a couple times, wait for it to settle down, but we had 3,515 for single core, 8,635 for multi-core. Very good overall for iOS 18. This is right where it should be, and sometimes it can go up and down, but some of the best we've seen. If you're wondering if you should install iOS 18.6 Beta 3, I would say it seems very safe if you're on the public beta. So far, it's been very stable, and many say it's much better than 18.5. You definitely could try it out, but again, make sure you're aware that it's a beta and it could still have some issues. Make sure you report that information and feedback if you are having issues as well. So that's it with iOS 18.6 Beta 3. Not a huge update, but definitely a refinement update for those that want to stay on this version. I think most people would be happy with it, and it seems to be much better than iOS 26 at this point. So that is in early stages, and it will get better, but this is definitely the most refined out there so far. Let me know if you've installed it or found anything new in the comments below, and of course I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.